You ever see an 8-year-old stand up and shut down a whole room full of lawyers in shiny suits? Because I did, and let me tell you, the air just about crackled. Zora Johnson, all of 4 feet tall, with her hair in 2 neat braids, stood on her tiptoes in the middle of her own father's will, reading, clutching a birthday card so tight her hand shook, and she said, "Stop, that's not my daddy's signature." You could hear a pin drop. Imagine a tiny black girl going up against an army of white lawyers, telling them they're about to steal her home, except she's not backing down. Yeah, that happened. And that's the kind of courage I wish I'd had at 8. Let me back up a sec. Oakwood Heights in Chicago used to be a place where folks knew each other's grandmas, where the corner store owner slipped you a free soda if you had a rough day. But now it's all fancy lattes, luxury condos coming soon, and doormen who stare through you like you don't belong. Zora grew up there, her entire world fit into a few blocks, lined with history and struggle. Her daddy, Marcus Johnson, ran Sacred Pages, the last black-owned bookstore in the neighborhood, where kids crowded around for story time and grown folks argued about politics and poetry. When Zora's mom died, just another black woman's pain dismissed by a hospital. Too far away, Marcus raised his daughter on his own, teaching her about history, handwriting, and the real meaning of legacy. He used to say, "See this loop in my J? That's our mark, Zoe." Grandpa taught me and his daddy taught him, nobody signs like a Johnson. Marcus didn't just want Zora to memorize it. He wanted her to know how documents could be used against folks like them, how to recognize when someone was pulling a fast one, and to never sign away what's rightfully yours. But change was coming faster than a freight train. Marcus's half-brother Richard, a real estate developer who'd figured out how to pass as white when it suited him, was snapping up property left and right. He wore suits that cost more than a month's rent, talked about progress like it was a gift, and couldn't hide his discomfort at family gatherings. While Marcus organized meetings and stood up for Oakwood Heights, Richard just wanted to cash out and move on. So the night before Marcus died, heart problems too young, he sat Zora down, showed her the safe, the trust documents, the will, and said, "Promise me you'll protect what we built." She promised, not knowing what that would mean in just a few hours. After the funeral, it was all business. Wilson and Barrett Law, 32 floors above the world, cold as a hospital waiting room. Richard rolled in with his entourage of lawyers, barely looking at Zora. When the will was read, it sounded like the punchline to a bad joke. Everything, the house and store, left to Richard with confidence he'll provide for Zora as he sees fit. The lawyers thought that was the end of it until Zora pulled out that birthday card, pointed at the signature on the will, and said, "That's not my daddy's mark. Somebody copied it wrong." Let me tell you, the patronizing smiles came out fast. Children see things that aren't there. It's grief, nothing more. But Zora had learned from her daddy details matter, especially when people are trying to take what's yours. Even as she was shuffled out into the reception area, juice box in hand, she overheard Richard talking about permits, demolition, luxury condos. He'd already decided her family's history was just another line item on a balance sheet. When Zora and her neighbor, Miss Constance, went home, the for sale sign was already hammered in the yard. The neighbors gathered, worried but resigned, fighting developers, and their lawyers wasn't something people like them were supposed to win. But Zora, that little firecracker, said, "My daddy wouldn't want us to give up." Determined to prove the will was fake, she dug through her father's study, found a hidden journal with notes on the pressure Richard had put on him, and a plan for keeping the house in the family, right down to warnings about heart conditions turning fatal. She brought her findings to Mr. Jackson, her dad's old friend, and together they reached out to Amara, a lawyer who'd grown up in Oakwood Heights but now worked downtown. Amara hesitated at first. Barrett's firm was practically untouchable, but Zora wouldn't let go. She showed her the real signature, the birthday cards, the letters, every loop and swirl that proved Marcus's handwriting was unique. Just when they thought they were getting somewhere, Richard sent the police after them, accusing them of trespassing at their own store. The legal system did everything it could to shut Zora down, lost paperwork, missed appointments, doubled fees. Judge Henderson barely glanced at the evidence before dismissing it, and even the media painted Richard as the patient uncle just trying to do right by his difficult niece. But the community was waking up. Flyers started appearing all over the neighborhood, telling the real story before and after photos, showing black families pushed out condos, rising in their place. Where are these families now, printed bold underneath? Old-timers shared memories at the town hall. The church rallied behind Zora, and soon a movement had started. Richard tried to buy them off with token gestures, a shelf of books, and a sterile new building, but Zora refused, her words echoing across social media and local news. "Our home isn't for sale." Then came the break-in. Someone ransacked the house, took only the documents. But Marcus had taught Zora never to keep all the pieces in one place. Security cameras caught Richard sneaking into the bookstore after hours trying to cover his tracks. The real breakthrough came from an old family safety deposit box where Marcus had hidden the real will, one that left everything to Zora, protected the house and store as historical landmarks, and called out Richard's threats. Even then, the opposition didn't let up. The bank manager called the cops on a child with her lawyer trying to label them as frauds, but Amara fought through it, getting just enough evidence to keep going. The day of the final hearing, the whole neighborhood turned out, packed courtrooms, news crews everywhere. Judge Gordon, a black woman with no patience for games, took over the case. Amara and Zora finally got to present the real story, the forged signature, the financial motive, the evidence of years of dirty tricks. Richard was exposed in court. His lawyer's assistant broke down and admitted the forgery, and even Zora's teacher, who tried to paint her as imaginative, was shown to have her own ties to Richard's company. In the end, when Barrett tried to escape by withdrawing the fake will, Amara showed the trust deed property locked up for community benefit, with no way for Richard to demolish or profit. Judge Gordon invalidated the forged will, recognized the trust, and sent Barrett's firm up for ethics violations. Richard faced criminal charges. His company went under, and the community finally got some justice. Zora didn't just save her home. She sparked a movement. The bookstore reopened, scholarships were set up in her father's name, and Oakwood Heights drew a line in the sand, no more erasing their history. But here's the thing. Even with a happy ending, nothing's ever really over. Richard tried to apologize, and Zora told him straight. People can change, but first you have to tell the truth and fix what you broke. That's real accountability. You know what I mean? So now, every time I walk past sacred pages and see the line out the door or hear kids laughing on that lawn, I remember how an 8-year-old's courage made a whole city sit up and pay attention. Let me ask you, what would you do if someone tried to erase your family story? Would you fight even when the odds were stacked? Drop a comment, hit that like and share the story if you believe in standing up for what matters, because sometimes the smallest voices really can change the world.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình, là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video
Vamos supor, você falou negócio sério. It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're defend.